But I'm getting a little ahead of myself here. Let's take it to you, Scott. Can you please introduce yourself? Give a short introduction about who you are and what you do.
Yeah, that's so weird to hear 20 years. It's like, whoa. But I guess, yeah, it's been a minute.
Now that you're like 22, though, it's not that far,
Yeah. Well, let's see. I went to Vancouver Film School over 20 years ago and got out and got into like animation, post-production, visual effects, but always wanted to be a director. But of course, right when you get out of film school and stuff, nobody's handing you directing projects. So I really got a good background in a kind of graphic design and editorial and post, and then started a company called Merritt Andrew with my brother and another producer, Caroline. And that was 20 years ago, almost to the month.
Wow.
And, yeah, we've done a lot.
Well, I want to get into that very much. I want to know how the stuff you've been doing. But I first would like to know, you said you went to film school and you did some animation.
Yeah.
When did this all start for you that you wanted to be a director? And
it's weird. It was something kind of, I thought the vehicle of motion picture, whatever that is, was a super creative outlet, and I kind of had an inkling I wanted to do it from a pretty young age. I didn't know what it all entailed, but I just liked the mixing of how you can make someone feel with the movement of the camera and the sound and bringing it all together. So I think from literally maybe like 12 or something, it was one of the few things I wanted to do, and as was a fighter pilot, but that didn't work out.
Yeah, it didn't work out. Did you actually get somewhere with that at one point? Or it's just video games?
My pilot's license a while ago, but that's as far as I got with that.
Did you make? You spoke of you and your brother started the company. Did you guys, once this kicked in when you were 12, did you guys make movies or scenes or anything?
We didn't do that a lot together. He was just enough older and kind of he was like going to college when I was getting into high school. So we sort of missed connecting on some of those creative ventures together, although we just have a great connection. We're always cracking up and really connect on that level. So we didn't really connect on doing actual like physical paid work and stuff until much later in life together. But yeah.
And where did you grow up?
So originally I was in Long Beach until I was like 11 or 12 years old. And then I grew up in the Northwest in a town called Bellingham, which is a little bit north of Seattle. And then I ended up going to the Vancouver Film School in Vancouver, Canada.
Oh, okay.
And then moved back down here where the work is.
So go into a little bit of the film school and the animation stuff. Yeah. What exactly, you touched on a little bit, but tell me a little bit more about that, what that entailed.
Yeah, so the school I went to at the time was really unique in the fact that it was kind of a hands-on experience, to where it was a 1-year program, but you'd spend 2 months really learning each craft, and you'd go to school 8 hours a day. The school was open 24 hours a day, so you could stay super late and work on your projects and stuff. But it was like 2 months of just editing and editorial, and you'd immerse yourself in that, or just sound design. So by the time you came out, you had a good smattering of all these different trades and crafts. You weren't an expert in any of it, and it kind of gave you a good sense of maybe what the foundation to be a producer or something like this, the groundwork, laid out of like, all the disciplines and whatnot. But from there, I was interested in graphic design and animation, and just hit the pavement really hard trying to find a place that would take me in and, mentor me up a little bit. And
was that after you got out of school?
It was, yeah. And that was down here in Orange County, actually. I found a company called Electric Eye Digital Graphics, which was After Effects, Photoshop. At the time, it was New Tech Lightwave for 3D. And it was located in a post-production facility where there was like a sound company, an editorial company. So I just liked the vibe and knew I could learn a lot in that.
So even Orange County is actually, for those who are not in the Southern California area, is outside of is really close to Los Angeles, to Hollywood, but it's like an hour and a half away, depending on what area. Is there like a thriving production thing going on there in Orange County?
And there is so much more so today. At the time, it's funny, it was close to Hollywood, but it also could have just been, as far away as Kansas, it was far enough away that you had access to a lot of stuff, but the community itself wasn't really thriving there. It was a lot of corporate, pretty basic work where things weren't that elevated as far as storytelling and commercial looking stuff coming together. I think that's changed a lot over the last 20 years, but that's where it was at the time.
So yeah. In a sense, you're kind of like the pioneers of Orange County entertainment.
We were looking around going that, this is a huge economy down here, a lot of business going on down here, and there's not a lot of great storytellers in the neighborhood. So it did work out.
So tell me about that. So what did you and your brother, when you started Merritt Andrew, how did that come to be?
We really wanted to just start working together. We had some other harebrained business ideas, but at the core, I really was hoping that we could make something work in the filmmaking business or the commercial business, or the creating business. And so we tried a couple of the harebrained ideas, but as we were doing them, we were in this post-production facility that I was talking about. And I had worked for a number of years and just knew so many talented individuals that kind of needed my brother, a Curt-minded person, to say, I can take these people and probably go sell some projects. I can get some work, because we were all just editors, animators. We didn't really know how to go get clients and manage projects from that perspective. And he really did. And he was really also creative, at his core. So he kind of represented everybody really well. It wasn't just, let's go get some money, And that's kind of how it took off from the early days. Then Caroline came in just a few months in and was kind of the one helping everything work day to day. And
so was it a core team of the three of you in an office, or were you working out of your home, or what's?
I had a little office there, just myself, and so then Caroline came on, and then a few months later, Curt left his full-time job and came on, and then my little office was more like a sweatshop, the three of us in there grinding away in this tiny little office. And then we had another guy I was working with, Jason, at the time. So it was the 3 or 4 of us in there, and yeah, it was elbow to elbow.
What was your first project, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, it was for this company called Leading Edge Aviation, and they paint huge airplanes, and they'll do really custom cool paint jobs, for those specialty airlines that sometimes you'll see they do a cool paint job, or they'll just the regular.
I remember the PSA had a smile on it.
Yeah. Totally remember that. Yeah, that was our first gig. It was just mostly post, because that's kind of where we came from too. It was a lot of After Effects and editorial, and we did a lot at the beginning.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, we did a lot of that post-heavy stuff in the beginning, because those were the chops we knew at the time. But then we started getting into more live action. I was able to start working with you a little bit on concepting the live action stuff together.
So do you remember? I don't remember what our first. I remember meeting you. It wasn't as a storyboard artist, but when I did storyboards for you, what was the how did that work out? What happened?
It's been so long, and we've worked on so many projects. I was trying to jog my memory on what the first project was, and I don't recall, but I know from the early on and up to this day, you gave me a lot of confidence, because, like I said, I was coming from post, and I was going into the live action world, and I know enough to be a little dangerous, but your background is actually being a filmmaker and have made plenty of films yourself, and being, an illustrator and a storyboard artist. You helped give me the confidence of bringing the craft together in a way that was achievable. You helped me draw in some different camera movements. You just really understood the craft to where when we worked on it, we were kind of working out some of the stuff together, And you would
Cool.
draw in
I'm glad. That makes me happy.
some of the arrows, the way things would move, and from then on too, we just kind of, you know, have that.
So, with or without the boards, what are when you're, you know, you're steady in it, you're making, you're getting jobs, you're getting confidence, everything is going. So what exactly are the needs that you deal with that happen again and again with your clients? Like, you know, is there anything particularly challenging that you find that you know have to do to make sure that they're happy, or anything you need to get out of them, or
Yeah. And I think so much of it comes to the real early process of like really listening to your clients and what they really want to achieve and what their goals are. You know, what I've learned over the years too is like listening to what their real business goals are, because they're trying to sell something most of the time unless you're just making art, you know. So really trying to understand that from a base level, because most of us come from an artistic inspired type of background in that way, where we're trying to use our tools to inspire people. But if you can really understand what they're trying to do, then you can use all your craft to try to achieve that goal, and use the art and the craft that you've learned to try and get them where they need to go. So I think that will serve people really well. And being early on working on storyboards, or sometimes you and I have drawn like concept boards together, which I think is awesome. And it doesn't have to be this linear storyboard. It can be this evocative image, you know. Let's color outside the lines and show clients kind of like what we want people to feel and how we want to bring this to life, and then kind of walking them slowly down the road of, you know, what they want to do, and then your craft and the vision, and slowly talking, you know, colors and camera movement, and keep going on down. So when you actually get to the shoot, you're in a really good place, you know, and it's part execution and still part creative at that time, you know.
yeah, that all makes sense.
Yeah.
You just reminded me of, we did one very unusual job together.
Sounds right.
If you're thinking of the same one, can we talk a little bit about that?
Yeah.
If you know what I mean.
Which one was this?
The thumbs.
Oh, the thumbs. Yeah, totally. Oh yeah, that was great. That was really unique. You want to kick it off?
Yeah, please tell everyone about it. It was fun.
Okay. So we did this job for, at the time it was BlackBerry, and they had the whole concept around the thumbs being the hero characters. So we created these little mini sets, and they were really funny, like a CEO boss's office, but it was like over exaggerated. God, we had a lot of really cool sets, and then you came up with, we started drawing the looks together of what the thumbs were going to look like, and it was somewhere between, it was almost like drawing animation stuff. So you draw all the little different, you know, poses of, you know, happy, sad, all the emotions they went through. And then I think you were drawing them on, what was it? Was it like a tracing paper? And then you were drawing on the actual thumbs at the shoot. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was so cool, man. That was so cool.
I think I did have a list of, I think I had images of characters, like the faces, and would go on what thumb, but it was, yeah, it was one of the funniest. I mean, if I could only get paid for drawing little faces on thumbs.
Yeah.
At that rate, you know, I'm sure I could go do that somewhere, perhaps for $1 a thumb or something. That
was really
where, you know, what are some of the, did you run into anything that was really a struggle, or are there numerous ones of the day-to-day grind of trying to find clients or being on set, or anything that was you find challenging over and over again, or at least for a period of time?
I mean, I'll tell you, doing a lot of commercials and stuff like that, one of the challenging things that always comes up is when you're on the shoot, you have your clients and you have the producer there, and you're doing what you're doing, is just keeping all the communication flowing quickly, but also being able to like check in with your clients regularly, and being able to take client notes in the moment and incorporate that quickly into your shoot, because the clock's ticking. You know, you're on a 10-hour day, you're on a 12-hour day, period. Yeah. So as things change, being able to adapt quickly. And I think that just comes with being flexible, having a real good vision, but being really flexible also, and knowing how to incorporate client notes and things like that in real time, but also, not just taking them and giving away the vision or giving up on, what your craft is there. It's like know when to push back, know when to take stuff and move forward. And I think it just comes with some experience, but maybe just knowing that. I'm trying to give some tips and tricks of things that just aren't so obvious, and things that battle scars that I've learned over the years, like that can maybe give some younger people getting into it a little bit of stuff of what to expect or how to navigate that world.
Well, with that said, what would you? I mean, is there one thing that you wish you knew before you started, that if you knew back when you started, that it would have made everything a little bit easier?
I think what I just talked through, and the underlying tone there being like having a really great creative vision, selling that through from the get-go, and understanding what and why you're creating what you're creating, and not just trying to make pretty pictures because they're pretty, or they're cinematic, but they have purpose to them, and that purpose relates back to what you're creating overall. If it's a funny moment, or if it's, what are you trying to achieve in each moment. And I think, I don't know, maybe that's obvious, but also it's just one of those lessons I think you kind of learn over time, is being in sync with all of that. And I mean, to bring it back to kind of like what we've worked on before, we've done stuff that's quick and conveys the message, that's like quickly drawn black and white boards together that I show my client, even when we're working quickly, to really colored in beautiful boards that really bring the whole like vision to life, that you can present in front of a bunch of executives or whomever needs to sign off on those things. Then you can get into the real nuances of what color do I want this person's shirt to be, and start making some cool decisions up front and see it come together. Or then we've just done shooting boards together, a little bit more, bare bones, so everybody on the shoot can see what are we trying to achieve here. And so
it's a good communication device. You can have your shot list, but if you could just show somebody, a picture.
Oh my God.
Exactly.
Oh my God. Especially when you're out and the clock's ticking and everybody's standing there. If you're trying to like describe something, or you see the DP or something off somewhere, like reading what the shot's going to be, or you can just go up and be like, here's what I'm trying to get. Yeah. And they're like, oh yeah, that's great, I get it, let's go.
Gosh, you said so much, I can't really think of anything else. What I actually would really like to know is, okay, Crafty, for those who don't know, Crafty is the catering service. Do you remember the best Crafty meal or snack you've ever had, and what was it?
So it's usually on a really long shoot, and a shoot that has a decent budget. So you're grinding away and you're shooting and you don't expect it, and then somebody comes by with like a tray of like really nice little smoothies, and then he had little quesadillas and finger peanut butter sandwiches. So you're like working and you don't expect it. All of a sudden he's like, would you like a quesadilla? And you're like, yeah, I would like a quesadilla. That is amazing, thank you.
So the actual item, the dish itself, it's made much better by the fact that it was delivered just at the right time.
Oh yeah, you didn't expect it. You're grinding away, and then this really nice person comes by, and it feels so thoughtful and so like heartwarming that somebody brought you a little smoothie when you're just getting grinded in the 11th hour or something, and they're like, would you like
a little smoothie?
Thank you for thinking of me. Yes, I really need this right now.
So you mentioned the work with the showing to the client. So it ends up being that it's a very helpful thing in just getting them on board with you, would you say?
Oh my God, it's so helpful. And again, a lot of times you have to present these boards not just to some agency creatives, but either the agency creatives, or you might find yourself pitching to the people that are really writing the checks, and they're generally not that visual. or they don't have a lot of time to read through your stuff and understand it. So show them the storyboards in a boardroom meeting, which I've done with some really big clients, and they immediately get it. And you just talk through it. Or I was going to say what I've done with you a lot is we'll draw boards, and then I'll cut the spots together in a little animatic and put the music under it, and put sound effects under it and try to bring it to life, and then show my clients this kind of illustrated and cut it right to 30 seconds or whatever we're doing, and immediately everybody gets it. You could start jumping right into having creative conversations about the project we just looked at, versus trying to just get people to understand what you're doing. It's just like right there, and you just nail it with that stuff. It's so great.
So with that said, what kind of client would you think I'm a good fit for?
I mean, I think you're a great fit for any client. We've done stuff all over the board. I don't think there's one type of client literally that I would say, you only fit in these boxes. I feel like we've done stuff from music videos to very conservative companies. And we may approach the boards slightly different depending on who we're showing those to. But what I love with working with you is you get it. Like, we can talk about who this is for, and we may approach the drawings a little bit differently or the boards a little bit differently. But I love that you get that. I love that we draw in what's achievable, and you draw frames that we can actually get. Like, if we talk about, hey, we're going to use a 20-foot crane on this, like, you'll draw something that looks like we could get on a 20-foot crane, not some. I think I was talking to you before the call, and maybe I'll just drop that right here, is that when you were booked and I couldn't work with you, I worked with a different storyboard artist who was just a graphic novelist, and he drew some really beautiful pictures, but
everybody was flying.
Yeah.
Everybody had superpowers.
Nothing was achievable, it was these beautiful things. I'm like, how are we going to shoot this? So, it was just, it was pretty, but it was kind of a nightmare because nothing was achievable. So I love that we work in the same world there.
Well, it's been fun because I got to hear some things I didn't know before. So thank you very much.
Yeah.
Where can people find you and find out more about you online or elsewhere?
Yeah, I have, well, I would say go to our website, meritandrew.com, meritandrew.com. Got all our work up there, and, a lot of stuff that you've boarded is up there on the work page.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, a lot of it. So, yeah, that's probably the best.
All right, great. So thank you so much, Scott. Thanks for everybody for watching, and we'll see you later. Bye now.
See ya. Thanks.